Okay. Okay, so we're at the potting shed. We're setting up a worm farm, a second worm farm. So we've got the existing one happening here. So the arrangements with these worm farms, which you can get at Bunnings, but I actually get them find them off Buy Nothing or on Verges or whatever, is that you have a number of layers. And so in the bottom layer here, we have the layer where all the juices go to. This is the bottom layer. And what we've done here, it's got perforated holes. What we've done is got some compost, just some material and some sand and biochar. We put that in there. Similarly for the next layer up, that's the same setup. And then the top layer is where we're putting the worms at the moment. And we've done pretty much the same thing. So we've got sand and biochar and a bit of compost as a bedding sort of material. We've got all these lettuce leaves. I go to like Woolies and Coles and you'll see a green bin, and that's generally full of lettuce or banana peel or something like that. So, but also at home with what I've got set up, I have just vegetable and fruit scraps in there. So over here I've got some worms from the existing worm farm, so they're all wriggling around there, and then I'm just going to put them in there. As you can see how many worms there are, there's like hundreds of them. And just cover them up, and I'm just going to get a watering can and I'm just going to wet the whole thing. Give it a good watering. And then the other thing I would normally do is I'd put some biochar on there. So what I've got here is some biochar. Some of it's quite big, but a lot of it's very fine. As you can see, that goes through there. And with the fine bits, which are almost like dust size, it'll go through the worm digestion system, and that'll be inoculated with nutrients as well as bacteria that live in the gut of the worms. The bigger bits will also be inoculated because they've got microscopic pores. In fact, like the surface area of a teaspoon of biochar is equivalent to something like a basketball court. So it's a huge surface area. So these have pores which the bacteria and nutrients and so forth can go into, and of course water. So we put the lid on. The other thing about this location here is that's the east, that's the west. It's very, very shaded. Here at the moment the sun is pretty much directly overhead. It's 11:30 in the morning, and it's fairly shaded. So I'll put it back even further, and in a few weeks that'll have worm juice coming out of it, as we have here. Okay, and then that will be used for food forests as well as the potting shed here. The other thing we'll harvest in a few weeks is the worm casting. So checking on the worm farm that we established last week. Now I've put some Hessian sack, which basically you get from roasting places, and generally I'll put it over the top, because particularly when there's going to be a heat wave or it's going to be very hot, which it is coming up, just allows air through as well as providing shade. Also generally wet it as well. So here, this was full of lettuce leaves last week, and It's exactly a week that we've had them in, and as you can see, the worms are made themselves at home. They're quite there. I also came in during the week and dropped off some other food scraps, so you can see some eggshells and potato peelings and coffee grounds as well. Yeah, they're looking very, very happy there. So let's. The other thing which you probably won't be able to see here, is that in addition to the worms breaking down the food and processing it, there's also a whole bunch of bacteria, which you can't see, of course, and springtails. Now you can't see the springtails here, but in a well-established worm farm, they're all part of the fauna, and there's flora probably in there as well, fungi of some sort, working away, breaking down those organic material and leaving you with basically carbon and other sort of nutrients.